Okay, so we had a half-second glitch there for a second. Hey, welcome to Countdown to Outbound. This is the first one, and you got to start at the beginning of the alphabet. So that means
Yeah.
you got to Bajorek. Yes, Jeff Bajorek.
Yeah.
Welcome, man. How you doing?
I knew there was a way I qualified. And, what can I say? It's my last name. My dad gave it to me, and here I am.
It's kind of the name you've had since since birth. How's that?
Yes, it is. I have not I've not in fact changed my name, but Countdown to Outbound. I love this, Mark. This is great.
Yeah. Hey, so tell me, you were at Outbound a couple years ago,
Was.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was the experience?
Oh, man. First of all, paid my own money to be there. Paid for the VIP experience to be there, which was, over delivered. I tell people, like, wear comfortable shoes and just be ready to go. But the thing is, like, there's so much content, and we make a big deal about the content because that's really the part that you and I have control over, right? I mean, we're putting good stuff out there. We do good work, and people appreciate us for that. But I think the magic of it is the energy in and around that building. You've got, and Anthony says this a lot too. He says, this is one of the places where, like, people are here on purpose. They want to be here. They bring that energy here, and you can feel that electricity throughout the building, really throughout downtown Atlanta for that week. So it's the content, it's the speaker hallway there where, like, and it might be probably going to be a little bit different this year, but look, I don't know how many times you elbowed me and forearm shivered me, just walking by in the hallway. Like, there's that kind of access there, and that just keeps the place buzzing.
Well, that's what it is, because it is pure learning. This isn't a conference where people go and they, here's talking heads that are pitching something from the stage. There's none of that. Everybody there is a really spot on professional. And so the content is absolutely, but hey, this year you're presenting. Mm-hmm. What are some of the ideas you're going to be talking about?
Well, my virtual presentation, I got that recorded last week and submitted. I'm really, really proud of that work. I did a virtual session kind of for the pre-show run up there. I think I'm on June 14th, that Tuesday morning, called You Don't Have a Closing Problem. And it's 16 problems that you have that if you solve those problems, your closing problem would go away. So kind of I'm telling the joke without telling the joke, kind of a premise there. But then my elite workshop live in person on Friday is going to be based on the 5 forgotten fundamentals of prospecting. And I think these are the things that salespeople need to understand if they want to own their own sales process, if they want to have an authentic way of reaching people, of moving people, and really getting their job done, which is, creating new sales and growing with the customers that you already have.
Okay, so now you said there's 16. You got to give us one or two of them. Come on. Give us one or two of them.
You've probably got an opening problem, an engagement problem, a rapport problem, a planning problem, a discipline problem, a pipeline problem. You've got a belief problem. Most salespeople get stuck on their own lack of belief in their ability to close sales. There are 16. I think I gave you a 9 there. Check out the show. One of my early performance, if you will, is going to go through all 16. And like I said, I'm really proud of how that came out. I think you're going to like it.
Yeah. Now let's talk about outbound selling, because this is one of the big challenges people say. And I get this question because I talk on prospecting a lot. I just can't do, and yet here at Outbound, you're surrounded by hundreds of people. I mean, we'll have over 700 people live and thousands online. And you're going, whoa, Outbound actually does work. What, in your words, what's the difference between outbound and inbound?
Well, the smart aleck in me wants to say the level of comfort.
Good answer. Good. You know what? I kind of like that.
I think the level of control. And I think that's the flip side of that comfort coin. Who doesn't like it when a prospect calls you, Mark, and says, Mark, we want Mark Hunter to come work with our organization. We've got a kickoff meeting. We've got a mid-year meeting. We need a little bit of fire in our bellies. Let's get Mark Hunter to come, shake us up a little bit. You love taking that call. Of course, who doesn't love taking that call? But the thing is, they've already got an idea of what they want. They've got an idea of how much they want to spend. They've got an idea, and that idea is good as long as it lines up roughly with the way you do things. But when you take your offerings, when you take more importantly, your ideas, when you take your expertise to the people who could do business with you, you start to formulate their own ideas. You start to mold their concepts. You start to give them an idea of what becomes possible. And that's where those really creative conversations start to have. I think it's a lot more fun, personally. And also, the thing you end up creating ends up being way bigger than anything that they would have come to you with. I've had this happen with a couple of prospects just over the last couple of months. You get into a really good discovery session. You start thinking, what if? Like, I've done this way before. Is that how you've done? Oh, Jeff, we've never done about it. We've never thought about it that way. Okay, cool. Well, then let's keep thinking about it that way and let's see what, and then they get involved and you get involved. You get so much more engagement with the prospect that when you actually put something together and pull it off, it becomes bigger and badder than anyone could have imagined. And that's fun to me. Maybe that's my psychosis, but that's fun to me.
Hey.
And I think it's worth putting up with the occasional rejection. All right, it's more than occasional. It's worth putting up with the ideas that just don't land. It's worth honing your chops with those ideas that don't land, because you make real magic when they do.
You have just received a long play, drop the mic from Jeff Bajorek. I love it. I love it because, see, this is the whole thing. It goes back to that whole line that I like to use. If you know you have the ability to help someone, it's your obligation to reach out to them. And if you don't, you're doing them a disservice.
Yes.
And this is what sales is really all about. We have to look at us in sales as we are our customers' research and development department.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, customers don't always know. They may think they know what they need. But they don't really know what they need.
And yeah, no, go ahead with that.
Well, and that's our job. But here's the whole thing. This is where the bad perception of salespeople. People get, oh, I can't stand salespeople because all they want to do is show up and throw up.
Right.
The good salesperson, like you sit there and listen. You listen to the customer. You take the time to understand where they're coming from, what their needs are. That's how you really begin to unpack what it is that the customer is looking for.
Totally agreed. And, when you say that your customer doesn't know what they're looking for, that's not a slight on your customer. Do you know how many things they have to balance? You know how many things they have to juggle and manage? They come to you, they come to me, or more importantly, when you go to them, you offer them opportunities. You offer them possibilities. You offer them a little bit of inside baseball about what other companies like them are doing. Like, there's value to what you provide. It's not like, oh, my customer, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. No, it's not that frame of reference for your mindset. But you said something there that I want to jump on because it's something I'm very passionate about. I get a little worked up about it. This idea that the show up and throw up rep it's still somehow, it is still the default impression that people have about salespeople. And now you see research that came out last fall from Gartner that says that 33% of buyers want a repless experience, including 44% of millennial buyers want a repless experience. Here we go again, Mark. The sky is falling, Mark. Reps are going to be eliminated, Mark. And you know what? I'm going to tip my hat, not wearing one right now, but I'm going to tip my hat to Gartner for being brilliant marketers because the data is what it is. But we have a choice here, Mark. We can eliminate reps or we can just be better reps.
I think without a doubt. No, you are spot on with that. I refuse, there's also the data that says, the customer is 78% along on the buying process before they even want to talk to us.
Is it still that low?
I don't know. And I'm sorry, but I throw those numbers out the window. I really do, because here's the whole thing. Every sale comes down to 1-to-1. Yep. It's one person, one customer, period. Now, if I can sit here and bring you an added value experience, you're going to engage with me. Now, if what I'm selling is pencils, you don't need a salesperson. Transactional sales, you're right. You don't need salespeople. But believe me, there's a lot of things that I buy that I want to interact with a salesperson, or I'm going to know that I'm going to get a better purchase decision based off of that. I mean, think about this. Let's just take a look at the real estate market. Would you buy a home without ever talking to somebody about what you're buying? Would you ever? No. Don't sit there. Oh yeah, I can sell this on my. No, you wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, you could, but you'd be a fool, even in a market like we're in today. You see, the role of salespeople is so critical, and this is why I like Outbound, because it's people coming together who have a passion to make a difference in people. And we should just say, hey, it's June 15th through the 18th for the live experience in Atlanta, Georgia World Congress Center. It's June 13th through the 18th for the virtual experience. Now, if you come live, don't worry about it. You'll get to see all the virtual stuff that happens ahead of time too. Don't worry about that. But you got to go to Outbound Conference, and hey, use use Jeff 100 or Mark 100, save $100, but you want to get tickets. Hotels, it's interesting. I was just talking Sunday with our hotel coordinator, and a couple of the local hotels are they're almost full.
Cool.
And which is great. And if you're wondering, this is what people are sitting there saying, well, I don't know if I can travel. We just got word last week that there were over 2,300 people at the Georgia World Congress Center for another event. See, this place is massive. This place is massive. And you were there a couple years ago, and we were in a room. We had 1,000 people, and it was full. And we're a
big room.
And it was a big room. Well, we're in a bigger room this year. I mean, we're on the exhibition space, and again, it's all going to be very CDC. All the parameters. So I'll tell you what, I can't stress it enough. You need to be there. And
if you can. And one of the things that, as I thought about this, because I was slated to be part of the program last year, and we, couldn't make that happen for all the reasons and everything. But I remember thinking about this. Look, there's too much going on. There's too much at stake here. And that means two things, actually, kind of two separate things. One, there's too much going on here. We need to have something like this. Two, if we're going to do it, we got to do it safely, because you think about the people that are going to be there. Like, the last thing that we want as a group, and certainly you as one of the presenting and founding members of this program, is to put your reputation on a super spreader event, right? This is not what it's not going to happen. And so when I first, and I had some trepidation about, should I go? Should I not? I've got a family. I've got people in my life that need to be a little more careful than some others. And from the word go, as soon as I talked to you and Jeb and Anthony and Victor about this, it was, no. We're going to do this right. There is a template out there for how to do this right. We're doing it that way. This is going to be safe. We're going to have everybody getting the experience that they want. And we're going to provide a bunch of other virtual stuff as well, because now they call it a silver lining. Now we can bring this to more people, considering that a lot of people still can't travel internationally. So now this is going to be what it needs to be. And I'm pumped. And what I'm suspecting is we'll probably fill that bigger room next year.
Oh, I'll tell you what, this event this is only the fourth one. And it's amazing how far this thing has come, because if you're kind of on the fence, it is prospecting, pipeline, and productivity. Now think about those 3 P's: prospecting, productivity, and pipeline. You put those 3 P's together, and wow, because you can't be prospecting unless you know what your pipeline is going to be. You can't have a good pipeline unless you're productive. See, so all 3 of these things go together. And what I look at right now, especially as the economy is literally taking off, I mean, it is on steroids. Right now is the time when we've got to get those skills sharpened.
Oh yeah,
to be able to maximize that. So what are you seeing people doing? What's one big thing that you're seeing people are doing really good from a prospecting standpoint, or maybe one that, oh man, this is bad.
I am seeing too many people. I knew there'd be a few, but I'm still seeing too many people kind of hiding under the covers, waiting for things to get back to normal. Here's your wake up call. You want to be ahead of that curve. And what I'm telling people too is like, look, if If you know how to sell, you can sell in this environment. If you can't sell in this environment, the skills are there to be learned. And I know some people that can help you with that. But if you can sell during this environment right now, and you're a step or two ahead of all your competition, wait until as we're starting to see things really start to ignite and take off, you're going to be exponentially ahead of everybody else in your space that needs to be, that you're competing against, that you're selling with. Like, when you use this time well to really develop your skills and understand why sales are made, not just how to make sales, it makes a huge difference, and your curve just exponentially takes off.
You just touched on something. And that's this whole piece of, you get sales that are coming into you. And I say, that's great. You talked about it at the beginning, and you just talked about it again. But we also have to look at, what is our incremental sales? What are the sales that we're actually creating? And I'm telling salespeople right now, you may have the phone ringing and it's great. Who doesn't love it? But what are you doing to land and expand?
Right.
Land and expand. Now think about that for a moment. You have this customer comes in and they want something. That's great. You landed them, but then what are you doing to expand them? This is one of the exponential factors. In fact, it's very interesting. I was talking to a company that is in the lumber business. Now, if you've built a house or know anything about lumber, those prices are through the roof.
Oh.
And it's absolutely interesting. But as I was working with the VP of sales, we're strategizing 22 and 23. He says, Mark, my challenge right now is, I know our business is good, but we have to lock in place these long-term contracts that are going to take us to 22 and 23, because we know there's going to be an inverse effect. We know this isn't going to stay. And this is what the smart sales leaders are doing. They're saying, hey, I love the business now, but I got to be looking down the road. I got to make sure I'm prepared. And again, this is one of the things that we do a deep dive on when we get to Outbound. This is what Outbound's all about. Yeah.
You can't get lulled into believing that everything's going to be okay forever, right? The peaks and valleys are there. The peaks remind you that valleys are still coming, and the valleys remind you that the peaks are still out there in your future too, if you manage things the right way. And I've had a lot of clients saying, Jeff, we had our best quarter, we had our best year ever. We need to make sure we sustain this momentum, because there is a correction coming at some point. There's always a regression back to the mean. Now, the mean tends to still be up and to the right, so that's a good thing. But you get carried away with the highs and the lows, and you get a really bad perspective about things. And it always comes back to prospecting, pipeline, and productivity. And you've said this. A lot of our friends have said this. If you've got enough coming inbound to hit your number and to fill your pipeline, then great. How many people actually have that? Not as many. When they look in the mirror, it's not as many as they'd like to admit. And here's the thing that doesn't get spoken about enough. When you get an inbound lead, there's still a ton of prospecting to be done there, because of all the things that we've already talked about. Your customers, your prospects, they don't know exactly what they need. They think they know what they want. You have to still do really good discovery. You still have to pick apart their situation and help them see what is possible, not just what they thought they want, because we have to stop kidding ourselves that our customers know everything they need to know in order to make the best and most informed purchasing decision. So even when you get a lead coming to you, the skills that you're teaching, that I'm teaching, that we're all working on at this program are going to help everybody in sales.
Hey, I love that. Hey, I'm talking with Jeff Bajorek. Now, you may not know who I am. I'm Mark Hunter. I'm known as the Sales Hunter.
Who doesn't know
anybody? I don't know. I know. But anyway, and we're talking about the Outbound Conference. It's an event that has literally just grown over the last, even though we didn't have it last year. Man, the pent-up demand is huge for this year. And Jeff Bajorek is doing a virtual session Tuesday morning, you said, right?
It's Tuesday morning. It might be Monday. Might be
whatever. You're doing a virtual session.
If you go to the Feed Loop app, once you pick up your ticket, once you pick up your pass at outboundconference.com, and check it out. I'm in there. I'm at 9:00 in the morning, either Monday or I think it's Monday actually, but I'm in there early. Yeah.
And see, that's a real shout out to our sponsors. We've got Connect and Sell, Feed Loop, and our title sponsor, VanillaSoft, which helps make this whole thing possible. But outboundconference.com is where you go to. You can use Jeff 100 to save $100, or you can use Mark 100 to save $100. but we have live tickets in person, Georgia World Congress Center, or virtual. And hey, either way, it is no. You really got to be there live
if you can,
because again, it is Cirque du Soleil takes over a rock show to disrupt a sales meeting.
It's going to be loud. It's going to be educational. It's going to be fun. Look, wear comfortable shoes. You're going to hit your bed in your hotel that night and you're going to crash, but you're going to wake up the next morning. You're going to want more. And here's the thing, like there's just something about the energy that I talked about already. You can't help but keep going. And then you look at your watch and you're like, whoa, it's late. Okay, we got it. We're going to do it again tomorrow morning, and you get going. And it's really, after I went in 2019, that was the first time we met in person. We'd spoken a couple of times,
first time. Yes.
When I went there in 2019, I was like, okay, I'm coming back every year. This is circled on my calendar. Whenever this is, I'm coming back, and I feel really blessed and fortunate to have been invited to speak. So that was a nice touch. But I was going to be there anyway. You couldn't get rid of me, Mark.
Good. All right. Hey, outboundconference.com to tell you how big this thing is. If you've ever gone to a rock concert and you go backstage and you see the tractor trailers out back where it's 3 tractor trailers is what it takes for our staging, for our lighting, for our music, for everything that goes in. That's how big of an event. This is not a talking head show. This is literally an event. But hey, we are running out of time. So Jeff, what's your website? How do people get in touch with you?
Actually, the best way to get in touch with me, you can go to jeffbajorek.live. That will redirect you to the page on my website where I have a schedule for live training. There's a link to Outbound, obviously, because that's something that I'm promoting. But every week I do live sales training. 2 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays is typically when I do it. And we're gonna talk about some stuff. It's live, it's interactive, it's a couple of main points, and then an activity to make sure that you walk away with something functional to do. And then there's some time in there for Q&A. So that's how people can get a hold of me. And I'll take you to my website at jeffbajorek.com.
I love it. I love it. Hey, my name is Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Proud to be one of the originators of Outbound Conference. And you know where to reach me at. But hey, we want to see you at Outbound June 15th through the 18th for the in-person experience, virtual June 13th through the 18th. Thank you so much. We're out of here. That was really good. That was really good. And this is now the post show. How's that sound? Where we just get to talk very candidly.
Oh, nice. Hey, and we're still streaming. So that's
cool. We're still streaming. So I want to say thank you. Thank you very much for being the first guest.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad this was able to work out. I always love talking to you, but just it's such a cool thing. I remember where I was. It was the beginning of August, and I sent Anthony a text message about some podcast I heard, and he said, we need to talk. I'm like, okay. Was it something I said? Like what? And he's like, I'll send a Zoom. Are you available tomorrow morning? And I said, no, I'm leaving town with my wife. He says, tonight we're talking. I'm setting up a Zoom. I'm like, you could just call me. Right. And so we get in and he says, I'd like to invite you to these weren't his words, but to perform at Outbound. And I was like, I mean, it made my day. It was just such a cool thing. I've seen what you guys have done over the past couple of years. It was a goal of mine to have earned the right at some point to be asked. And when I was asked, it was just like, okay, cool. I must be doing something right. So it was, it's really, it sounds trite, but it's an honor to work shoulder to shoulder with some people that I've looked up to for my entire career. And it's just really a cool thing that you guys are doing.
Well, thank you. And hey, it's a privilege because you know what? Sales is not a solo activity. Mm-hmm. Sales is a team sport. And so, hey, we got to now wrap up the post show. Mm-hmm. So okay, I'll let you get that cup of coffee. I want to say thank you for joining me on the first countdown road, whatever we want to call it.
Countdown to Outbound. I like it. The road
countdown
show.
To Outbound. Take care.